People don't check on the strong one because the strong ones don't let people know that they need to be checked on. Right? So they make it easy, right? Competence creates invisibility and people assume that they're good. So the strong ones appear to be confident and because at all times they appear to be confident, then they're hiding the fact that they're not good. Why is no one checking on the strong ones? You know, that friend who's the problem solver, the one who everyone goes through, the person that everyone is known to be the healer or the warrior or the builder in the family or the job or in relationships. This is the person that everyone goes to and they work through their problems. These people might be some of your therapists. They may be your doctors. These may be the people, even those who make a living being the problem solver, helping people deal with the circumstances and challenges that they're going through. But no one checks on the strong one. Just because you're a therapist, people forget that you too might need therapy. Just because you're a doctor, people might forget that you too need a doctor. So we have to focus and pause and really examine that what happens when no one checks on the strong one. This is a reality that we can't ignore. Before we can even talk about why we don't check on the strong one, let's just pause for a moment and take a look at this need, why we really need to engage in understanding the strong ones, because the strong ones in reality may just be surviving. So for you therapists, here's what I'm getting at. Some of you can be going through certain things and you're using providing therapy to others to be your coping mechanism, right? That means that you helping other people helps you cope. It doesn't help you heal, but you use it to begin to help you cope. And we do know the difference between healing and coping is one is dealing with the immediate and the other is long-term transformation. When we don't check on the strong ones, and they have began to develop a life of just coping, and that their coping is really the ability to go from helping one person to the next, but coping is not designed for a long-term effect. And so here's what begins to happen. Right now in this country, far too many people, especially Black men, are suffering in silence. These are your warriors, your healers, your builders, but they're suffering in silence. When we don't catch it, here's what we find out. According to national data, men account for nearly 80% of all the suicidal deaths in this country. They've suffered in silence. Suicide rates among Black men and boys have risen significantly in years. These are the ones who they're strong, but they do something and something happens and it catches everyone off guard, with an increase reported of 25% in some groups that we're seeing what the suffering looks like. Mental health struggles often go untreated, and less than half of adults experiencing mental illness even get to the point of receiving care. Now, mental illness doesn't have to be something that is significant. Mental illness can show up in the form of your diminished ability to handle your stress, your diminished ability to handle your anxiety. So let that sit in. When we begin to think about the strong ones that I call invincible walls made of vulnerable bricks. So when we let that sit in, the strong ones, when we see and focus, who become the protectors, are often the ones who are quietly and silently disappearing. That means they've gone from showing up to certainly not being present. And so we pause, whether or not you are a healer, whether or not you're a therapist, whether or not you are a pastor, that you have created a life that everyone depends on you. And because everyone depends on you, that you, if not careful, will even position yourself that you find yourself having no one to depend on. So being strong also means getting help. Being strong, even if you are that person, being strong also means in recognizing that you need healing as well. The problem is that when we buy into some of the myths, then we began to try to live out those myths. And here's where the problem comes in. So let's define strong and look at some of the myths, right? The one that everyone leans on, the one who never complains, and the one who has it all together. These become the myths that we buy into, that everyone leans on them, not realizing that they need to lean on someone, that everyone comes to them with complaints, not realizing that they got some complaints on their own, and not realizing that everyone comes to them thinking that they have it together, but in truth, they don't. And we are seeing them losing relationships. We see these healers and these therapists losing in their marriages, losing family, because they have even set up in their own mind that what will I look like? Will I look weak because I have to go and get help? So, yes, now I'm sending everybody to the therapist. Now, at the same time, I'm saying, therapists, y'all slow down for a moment and you all take inventory. The same advice that you are giving people, I'm saying that I need you to do something courageous and apply it to yourself. Because if we're not careful, not only this social status that we put ourselves on, then especially you Black men as therapists, we also fall into some of the myths and the standards that society has on us, that we have to be strong, that we have to handle things, that we don't show our weakness. So these become some of the cues that when you add on the fact that you are a healer and everyone depends on you, and then you have the social conditioning that says you have to always be strong, you have to be able to handle all this stuff, and that you can't show your weakness, you're setting yourself up for failure. You're human. You're telling people that they're human. So now I'm telling you to take your own advice, because the truth is strength becomes performance, not authenticity. And strength becomes silence, not stability. So we see these things here when we recognize that when we don't understand how strength works and what it really means, that when it becomes a form of our performance and not the real reality of our authenticity, that I'm not as strong as everybody makes it out, but I'm going to perform to be strong, right? I'm not as stable. I don't have my shit together as much as I make it out, but I'm going to become silent and hide the fact that I don't have it together. So this is an opportunity to be authentic to my therapist, to my pastors, to my elders, to the people in your family that everyone comes to. Somewhere along the way, strength stopped meaning healthiness and started meaning hidden. So this is why I'm going to challenge us to be just as authentic with ourselves as we try to get people to think and to be authentic with us. So why no one checks on the strong one becomes a real life piece, becomes a real life challenge. People don't check on the strong one because the strong ones don't let people know that they need to be checked on. Right? So they make it easy, right? Competence creates invisibility and people assume that they're good. So the strong ones appear to be confident and because at all times they're appearing to be confident, then they're hiding the fact that they're not good. So we have to learn, and I'm going to give you all some tasks or some questions that I want you to probe into and get beyond just the superficial. You good? Yeah, I'm good. We got to learn to probe. Here's another one of why we need to check in on the strong ones. They train people to not ask. They're always showing up for others and they never express their own need. So you really, to you strong ones, to you pastors, to you healers, to you therapists, you have trained the whole world that you're the strong one. You have taught everybody, even in your own family, that you're the go-to people. And so therefore, it's not unusual or it's not being empathetic when people don't realize that you don't have needs. It's how you have shown up and what you presented. So yes, there's some benefit in reminding people that you are human. My best friend, my childhood friend, but long before I got into therapy, long before I got my PhD, my master's, I just, for folks in some of our professions, it becomes our calling from childhood. But my best friend, our entire life, Yes, from elementary school to adults, our entire life, that he has talked to me about issues, and we've talked through them, we've gotten through them. I had to call him when I was going through something about 10 years ago, and he didn't know what to do. He hung up and wouldn't call me back, and I was outraged. I was mad at him. When we finally got a chance to talk, this is what he said. He said, "Gee, man, I didn't know what to say, man. I didn't spend my whole life talking to you. I mean, hell, I didn't know you were going through something. I'm sorry." Realizing that I set that up. So you see what I'm saying, pastors? You see what I'm saying, therapists? You see what I'm saying to the healer within your family? People are comfortable receiving, not probing. So this is another example of why no one checks on them, because they are comfortable. We're comfortable with people just checking in but not probing. You good? Yeah. You straight? Yeah, you straight. And then we move on. That's how we do our healers. That's how we do our therapists. That's how we do those people who are our pastors, and those people who are in our community, that because of the position that they're in, people come to them. But no one asks, "What's been heavy on you lately?" Can you imagine, as a therapist, someone said, "Man, no, something not right. What's going on with you?" Can you imagine what happens if we ask the one who's known for being the strong one, what are you not saying out loud? In my organization, there's a pastor, one of the great ministers named Kenyatta Bush. He does that to me all the time. When he'll see that I go to my default language, "Yeah, I'm good," he'll say, "No, you're not. I'm looking at you. You're not good. What's going on, G?" And because he stops, because everyone in the organization assumes, as the mental health me and a great psychologist, because of that, he is keen enough. He's keen enough to stop the clock for a moment to get clarity. And I actually love him for that, because if I put myself on that mantle, when he checks in and he probes and he tells me, although I said I'm good, and he checked me and say, "No, you're not," then it takes me off and allow me to be human. So the strong ones themselves avoid vulnerability. And this is why people don't check on them, right? The fear of burning others out. I don't want to share the stuff. Well, man, I know you got a lot going through. I don't want to share what's going on. The fear of losing the identity. Now think about this. You're known for being the healer. You're known for being the therapist or the pastor, and to show your vulnerability or to come out, then all of a sudden you're afraid that people are going to look at you different, right? And that becomes another challenge. Just the fear of being seen differently. So no one checks on the strong one because of some of the barriers that they put up, or the facade that they're put up. But when the strong ones start the breaking, when they begin to collapse, this is where we begin to notice something's not right. What does that look like? The emotional burnout, the exhaustion masked in silence. That means you have the strong one who's normally outspoken and all those things, and all of a sudden they're silent. Again, as men, we socialize ourselves. You don't have to be a therapist. You don't have to be a pastor, even in your own family, because you've been socialized to think that men have to be strong and have it together all the time, and that you don't even show some of you don't even show your vulnerability to your wives, the one who's there, or to your husbands. Right? You hide it because you don't even want to show weakness in your own sanctum sanctorium, your home, the Holy of Holies, the place where you're supposed to be. You are even afraid to show your weakness there. So never mind being a therapist or a pastor or a healer. I'm saying this is for men who are just in relationships, period, that being vulnerable becomes a problem. But that strongness or that strength began to cave in. The internal isolation, right? Everyone needs me, but I have no one. And so now you have, and you notice I said internalized isolation. You think that you have no one to go to, either A, because no one can handle your complex needs, or B, you're ashamed of people seeing that you have vulnerability. And so I'm challenging y'all, I'm pushing you all. So advice, I'm billing by all you therapists need to do this. But if you're not careful, even you pastors and therapists, that there are situations where the client becomes the therapist, right? This is the the transference that begins to take place. Now, all of a sudden, the client sees that the therapist or the pastor needs help. And that's not the scenario that we want to push. That means with the people who are in your life that have an emotional investment in you, you have to begin to allow them to see the human side of you. So the delayed collapse does not occur. They don't break loudly, they began to break late. These are the people who stop showing up, who start being present. So the danger isn't that there's the strong ones who are struggling in silence, it's that they struggle silently, alone, and they are afraid, or because of their own ego, unwilling to let other people know what's going on until it's too late. So we have to learn to ask. Now, this is for you strong ones. You have to learn to ask for the help. Strength without support becomes emotional suppression, anxiety, depression, and anger. So I'm telling you all, even in society, we love the idea of a strong Black woman, and we hold that up. And we expect Black women to have the cape on all the time because, there's a strong, behind every strong man is a strong Black woman. We hear all of that. And what I'm saying is that sometimes you got to put that cape in the cleaner. So the emotional suppression, the anxiety, depression, and anger, all these began to take place. That is why we have to learn to ask for help. We have to learn to ask for help, to reframe. Asking for help is not weakness. Asking for help, having conversations with people, and this is your role, and this is your title, and this is what you're known for. Every once in a while, you need to ask for some help just so people will understand that it's not a form of weakness, but it's a form of acknowledging that you're a human too, right? It's emotional intelligence and a form of survival or ultimately succeeding. So we understand emotional intelligence, how I'm feeling, what I'm going through, and your ability to recognize what other people are feeling or going through. I get it. I get it. But what I'm saying is for you strong ones, why you got to learn to ask for help is that the same thing you're trying to put on other people, you have to allow people to put on you. And that is allowing some people to see something is not going on right with you. And you have to not be resistant when they're trying to probe and get some understanding. So I need you all to teach a couple of things we want to teach, right? The language of asking. I'm talking to you healers, you builders, your therapists, your pastors, right? Asking, learning to ask, I'm not okay right now. That's very good. It's going to catch some people off guard. But when you're not okay, it's okay to tell somebody, you know what, I'm not doing good right now. Or I want to help you, but right now, I'm not in the best position to help. How radical is that? That you're going to tell somebody right now, right? I need some support, y'all. I'm doing this, but y'all, I need a little support. Or I don't have the answer today. So many people are used to you having the answer. You're going to throw some people off that when you tell them that I don't have the answer today, but that's okay because you cannot heal what you refuse to reveal. Mm. Yeah, you're hiding it. You don't want people to know your own vulnerabilities. You give a life of helping people heal, but you are hiding and you refuse to reveal your own level of vulnerability. So we have to move in our language when checking on the strong ones. We have to move beyond asking how you're doing. We have to challenge the surface level of communication. You good? Yeah, I'm good. That means we have to take it to another level. How are you? At another level becomes automatic, performative, and easy to deflect. How are you doing? I'm good. But we have to ask the deeper question, right? What's been weighing on you this week? Dog, I can see that you're struggling right now. I'm good. No, you're not. Right? Why are you carrying this alone? Right? That Pastor Kenyatta Bush out of as a therapist and as a pastor challenging me, this is where he probes and becomes deeper, and it creates even an opportunity for me to communicate. Dr. Bass, an outstanding, one of the most powerful clinical psychologists, and the dean at the university, but as the art of listening, he's at next level. He encourages listening without fixing. So my running joke a lot of times is you go, he's not giving examples, he's not trying to fix, but he can see what's going on. You good? No, you're not. What's happening? And when you begin to talk, he's not giving answers, just right? So that healing, right? Holding the space without judgment is what we have to begin to do with those. So we want to move beyond in that regard, move beyond just the superficial. So I'm going to challenge those of you who are in that circle, and I'm going to challenge you healers, builders, and therapists and people. I'm going to challenge your circle to your friends, your brothers, your partners, and those around you who gather around the strong one. Stop assuming that they're okay. Stop only calling when you need something, and start checking in with a level of intention. That's what I need y'all to do. I need you to call to just check on them, the strong one. What's going on? I didn't want it. I love doing this, and I do this a lot. Man, I'm just I didn't want anything, man. Just need to check on you, hear your voice, everything good. What's happening with you right now? I saw you the other day, man. You were off to a distance. Everything good? Yeah. No, it didn't look like it. What's happening? So when we probe, challenge the identity that the strong one in your life, reach out differently this week. Call someone who's the strong one and reach out to them, not with your own problems, and resist unpacking your own problems and resist allowing them to switch and begin to probe, because that's what they tend to do. I need you to stay long enough to hear their truth. If the only time you call them is when you're going through something, I'm going to tell you, those of you who are in the strong one circle, you become part of the problem. So even you, those of you who are in the circle of someone who's a strong one, I need you to become intentional in terms of what you do. So in this reflection, when we look at it, who's checking on you? And when you're not okay, who's checking on you at that point? Who recognizes in your circle that you're not okay? And if the answer is no one, why haven't you said something? If no one checks on you, why haven't you said something? I don't want you to blow up on people. Nobody give a F about I don't want you to blow up because you become known as the person who does all the checking, and you've not revealed that you need checking on. And now you're going through something. You're frustrated because people are not recognizing that you're going through something, but you've not trained them to observe whether or not you're going through something. People who are used to helping can become angry when no one else notices their pain. And guess what, brothers? And guess what, sisters? Guess what, you healers and you builders and you pastors and you therapists? I am going to put that on you. So let me leave you with this. The world celebrates the strong ones, but rarely do they support them. We applaud their resilience while ignoring their reality. And the truth is, being the strong one can be one of the loneliest places to live. So you're not invincible, a wall of, but you're made up of vulnerable bricks. This is a reality, and this is the truth. This is what we want to challenge, to redirect and restructure the way we in the healing field, or we who are the healers in our family, that we want to restructure how we move and how we begin to act. Because everyone's lens and everyone sees you and everyone leans on you differently, but no one looks for you. No one looks for your challenge. So hear me clearly. The strength is not silence. Strength is not suffering. And strength is not pretending you're okay when in truth, you're falling apart. So the strength really is, when we look at it, and I close with this, is having the courage to say, y'all, that I need some help too. It is being strong enough to say, I need you to understand what I'm going through. You're allowed to heal. You're allowed to be seen, and you're allowed to not have it all together. So take yourself off that pedestal. Come on, get on down. Get yourself off that pedal. Don't wait until you break down. Don't wait until you run the risk of now dealing with some levels of depression because you don't want nobody to go through or know what you're going through. And then that in of itself becomes a form of depression. Don't wait for the strong ones to collapse before you decide to care. If you can learn to intervene at that point, you'll understand that when the strong people cry out, they begin to cry out, that they are crying out in despair. Check on them. Listen deeper, listen stronger, because strength should never have to suffer in silence. I'm Dr. Gary O. White, creating this opportunity for you to tune in for you to focus and become intentional on helping the healers in your circle. When you do, we all heal together.